Well, this is a little embarrassing. Not quite sure how to say this, but I screwed up pretty royally in terms of the following footage being shown. I made a dire mistake when initiating the recording of these following events, and in short, none of the audio from these were recorded. It was a dumb mistake that I made, and one that could have easily been avoided if I had at any point just taken the time to double check my setup, but I didn't. What's worse is I recorded in bulk, and I have about 12 hours of footage that doesn't have any sound associated with it. Now, of course, when it comes to a game like Black Myth Wukong, there's going to be long sessions anyway with very little leeway, so it all evens out in the end. That being said, there's still a lot that I don't get to properly show. Some of this footage involves the greatest parts of the game. I made it all the way through Chapter 5, then went back to do everything I hadn't accomplished yet to make sure I was getting everything I could before the game ended. So instead of calling this project a failure, or even worse, going back and redoing all of the things I had done, I decided I'd just do my best to explain the events that took place and hope that's enough to suffice. I was able to get to Chapter 6 and the ending just fine, but here's what happened before all of that. Starting with this little fox gal, she leads us on a path to go find her father, the Iron Bull, since he has the relic we need from this location. Also, something about a fan from her mother. I became slightly amazed that I can walk on lava, but then realized it's the fireproof mantle object I got for myself back in Chapter 1. We come across a duo called Cloudy Mist and Misty Cloud. One of them is blind, and that's really all I have to say about that. I found the gourd guy sitting by himself in this little chamber, to which he rewards me with the ultimate gourd in the game. I guess I got pretty lucky with this. I read somewhere that you have to find him in every chapter in order to receive this by now, and I hadn't realized that I had found him in all those previous times. Coming across this great chamber where the little fox's mom is, we turn into the cicada again. You remember from the very beginning, which really only ever had one purpose throughout the game so far. It's in an attempt to eavesdrop on the conversation between her and this other dude that tries to sweet talk her away from the Iron Bull. The little fox gets zapped with yin-yang energy, I guess, and disappears. It's shortly after that Jubache reveals that he's actually disguised as the mom, and we return from our cicada form. After the reveal, we enter into a pretty tough boss fight with the Keeper of Flaming Mountains. It's a super unique boss fight as well, with the enemies either being of yin or yang energy, and the battlefield being a mix of yin and yang, black and white. Super creative and one of my favorite boss fights visually. After defeating him, he runs away. I don't really recall at any point him returning to the story, so that's just the end of his story, I guess. We continue our way up the fiery mountain, got attacked by this mushroom guy, which is much tougher than he looks, come into contact with this rolling ball that we have to maneuver around, until Jubache goes big boar mode again and pushes it off the edge. Also, the Fox Lady is back. I don't recall her coming back at any time previous to this, so her return was a bit of a surprise. That is until we reach the top of the mountain and speak to the Iron Bull, who's dying, and find out that the little Fox Lady wasn't the little Fox Lady after all. It was Red Boy, the brother of the Fox Lady. So, was the Fox Lady ever real? Was it a disguise from the beginning? Again, something I didn't quite understand. We get into our fight with Red Boy, and I think this might be one of my favorite boss fights in the entire game. It's so intense, epic, fast-paced. It just felt incredibly badass. There was a glitch that apparently plagued a number of people, including myself, where Red Boy got stuck above you and doesn't come back down, doesn't do literally anything. Going next to the rocks here triggered him to attack and come down to finish the fight though. The badassery continues, if not elevates in his second phase as the Akshi King, where he consumes the relic to make himself more powerful. This boss fight took some time, but as long as it took, it didn't feel as frustrating as some of the others out there. Genuinely enjoyed this, and I really wish I could have captured it without the sound issue. After defeating Red Boy in his second form, the real mother comes along to tell the Destined One to spare his life, and in return, she'll give you her special fan. Red Boy hears this and wants no part of surrender. He'd rather die than continue to live his life his parents have made for him, feeling like he was destined for so much more, or something along those lines. So, he takes his own life in an absolute crazy display of his own powers, and the relic comes into our possession. Also, we took the fan. Seems a little disrespectful, but more for us, I suppose. The music video for Chapter 5 plays, which I can include right here.
You've atoned through deeds, Black Bear. Take this pair of eyes. You've served the righteous cause, Yellow Rat. These ears are yours. Your power has gathered anew, Yellow Rat. Keep this nose. You've endured hardships under eye. Go with the tongue. And the bull, it is the hardest to turn against a sworn brother. You can have his body.
Wretched bull, your luck plagues your every step. Never have you made a good choice.
Save your strength, brother! We're yet to slay our way to the court and seize that senile emperor! This one must be the chief of their troop. Brother, watch my back while I go play with him!
Your reluctance is plain, just like my own. They forced me to drink from the river of childbearing, to bear that boy in my womb. If not for that monkey, we could have lived our separate lives in peace. As if none of this had happened.
You're cute. You knew who I was from the start. Why did you choose to be their lapdog? I never wanted to sever our ties. If kinship means anything to you, give me that relic and let me avenge my people.
My king! Let the monkey have my fan, and there will be no trouble.
Your brother, I've disciplined. Your boy, I've given away. Your wife's fan. Today, I'll take it with me too. Find a master and serve the right. It's the only path left for the likes of us. Don't you understand, brother?
Wukong! I took out the bull's concubine with a whack of my rake too! Turned out, she was a fox squire!
我可以做，别笑我，笑我，心闭眼说，见我一笑而过。我把心说。我没错。
The way I saw it, with enough merit and a position before the Buddha, they would leave me be, and all of you as well. Now I see, for someone like me, staying alive is enough to be a transgression. Brother, take care of your wife and children. And remember, steer clear of my remains.
Yakshas are the mightiest of the 8 legions, after all. Be your body hard as metal, meeting death in scores is inevitable. Yet, why did you endure the fish and those carts just as poorly? You rush like wind with a clouded mind. It's your desires that shape what you see. Had your mind been less unsettled, would you still have fallen for that child's play? Haste oft blinds while patience illumines. Next time, can you still fulfill as Wukong without Bajin?
Obviously, with the end of Chapter 5, we enter Chapter 6, titled Unfinished. We return to the Monkey Mountain/hill that we originally embarked on our journey because apparently the old monkey from the beginning has the final relic. Pretty convenient. It was from here that I decided I would go back, starting with Chapter 1, to do all the things I hadn't done yet. Luckily, Chapter 1 is condensed and small enough to essentially be just an introduction to the game that there isn't really anything that I'd missed. There was one questline similar to what I'd mentioned before about the gourd guy and needing to start from Chapter 1, but I never found the first step and the quest wasn't available when I returned to the area later on. I'd have to start a new playthrough if I wanted to experience it. Oh well. Aside from that questline, there was one big bad boss that I came face to face with, part of the Long family. This required a specific item from Chapter 2 in order to remove the veil of a waterfall similar to the Sand one in Chapter 2, in order to access another boss fight. This guy was intense, and there's no way in hell I think I could have done this fight as early as Chapter 2. Speaking of the second chapter, there was still quite a bit to be done. First discovery is the Shigendang. Basically, a big rock monster similar to the one that we fought in this exact same area. I'm pretty sure it only appears after having collected all of the Eyes of Buddha from those rocks scattered throughout the region. Being as far advanced in the game as I am, it wasn't much of a challenge to take him out. You remember that fat boar that kept asking us for different things, like something to sober him up and some food to eat? Well, I finally found out where he was and what he was talking about in terms of the Golden Realm. You find him pretty close to where he was previously and he attacks you to test you, I guess. He then leads you up the nearby steps that takes you into this Golden Realm he spoke of. I'd found the doors before, but this was just something that the game wouldn't allow you to progress through until you'd done the necessary steps. This is where things are kind of weird because it acts as though you might be in a different timeline. You come across a smaller tiger who's pretty easy to fight, but it turns out that he's a homie, was just trying to do his job. He lets you know that there's some crazy stuff going on in the region, and the head honcho could use your help. Soon after, you find out that the head honcho is none other than the Yellow Wind Sage himself. You remember the guy who you fight with the giant head? Well, he needs your help fighting Fubin, however you say it, a giant beetle that's causing havoc throughout the region, summoned by drums that play and try to soothe babies so that they can sleep. Yellow Wind Sage helps summon the beast, and you beat it down until about halfway, where he comes down to help you put down the creature for good. After this, I continued the Drummer Boy quest line. Apparently there are other locations that I never came across to trigger more dialogue with him. After the additional location, going back to the well I found earlier with the crazy noises inside, the boy makes himself visible and jumps down while telling you to follow and come and play. Only he didn't tell you that you'd be playing with an even more aggressive tiger than the original one in this storyline. Again, it's good to be beefed up because this boss definitely would have given me the runaround if I'd found him originally when I was first in chapter 2. This concludes everything in this chapter. Now on to the notorious Pagoda Realm, and as you can imagine, I was not very excited to be back. Again, thankfully I had my stats jacked up to the point where I didn't have to worry about every encounter I came across. The big issue I had to solve here was the purple glowing locks on the doors. This would give me access to the NPC that was stuck in there. In order to do so, I had to take out one of the captains that were in the Pagoda Realm. Like Captain Wisevoice, he was one of the captains that were associated with this NPC stuck behind bars. Though it was a pain to try and find him, I finally did. Captain Lotus Vision. He shoots lasers and he teleports. A little annoying to fight, but eventually I got the job done and was able to return to the NPC in the cage and finally open the door. This is where the guide tells us he came to these lands with 4 captains and they all got turned into grotesque monsters. So far, we've already taken out Wisevoice, Lotus Vision, and then the giant roast beef monster Captain Kalpawave. There's only one more, Captain Void Illusion, but he's already dead. Just gotta make a pickup and then DoorDash his soul back to the prisoner. All done. Next thing I found was this guy, another dragon with the attitude of a stoner. Something about his lackadaisical nature, and he mentions carrying a pipe. You beat him up and he says that he's in pain and needs a specific pill that you can craft. You craft the pill, bring it back to him, but the whole thing was a test. Now you're part of the Cool Kids Club, in this special area where everyone you need to speak to in terms of crafting, leveling up abilities, and equipment, as well as a couple other things are here. Plus, there's this big tiger dude with an awesome voice you can challenge to fight and get as a transformation. To be honest, not the greatest, but the fight was challenging and he allows you to upgrade armor instead of just unlocking it. Also, I found the giant snake that was supposed to be the friend of the turtle that Jubache mentioned when we first got to the island. Unfortunately, the snake is not alive, appears to have been dead for quite some time. And the turtle sheds a tear, which we can use in our gourd as a soak. Kind of fucked up, honestly. Lastly, in this chapter, there's this helpless dude found that says he's looking for some treasure or other. We save him on multiple occasions, from being attacked by Yaoguais to making sure he doesn't freeze to death. In the midst of this, I found this big boy plant boss, Old Ginseng. I also stumbled upon what was, to me, the coolest part of this whole return, was the fox from the music video. At the end of chapter 3, there was a story of that dude that found a fox that was trapped, so he saved it, only to later have a nightmare of raising a family that would be eaten by that same fox. So he kills the fox to prevent the nightmare from coming true. Talk about superstitious. This fox spirit asks us if we could help him confront his old master, the guy that killed him. So he travels with you and you have the ability to change into him. I took his spirit with me and continued the other quest, but not before I stumbled upon this hidden boss, Non-Abel, who was fairly formidable for having his damn arms tied behind his back for half of the fight. After going down this cliffside, there's this secret location with a Buddha statue where the guy with the hat shows up again. Surprise! It's a trap. After almost getting cooked, the place turns into a hidden paradise where the smaller Buddha boy comes in, eats some watermelon, and then teaches you a hidden technique. I continued the chapter by taking that fox to his master, I think I might have missed a cutscene by not approaching initially as the fox, but it doesn't matter anyway since I didn't get any sound. You jump into a fight and kick that heartless asshole's tushy, which I guess sets free the spirit of the fox. Lastly, something I'd completely forgotten about was finishing the fight with the monk from the sea, which, even beefed up, was annoying as hell. There was probably some soaks and other equipment I could have used to fight against him, but even his moveset was hard to fight against. Not very fun, but got the job done. Almost even worse than the Pagoda Realm was the entirety of Chapter 4 with the spiders. It starts with a quest that would have made my life a whole lot easier towards the end of Chapter 4 by initiating this quest line to receive the Golden Needle, or imbuing it with power or whatever since we already have it. You tear open this dude's sack, then fight him and his extra 6 weird-ass looking arms. He turns into a centipede and runs away to fight another day. Only except for that other day is today. I returned back to that great open space where I was sure somebody was going to try and kick my ass in, and kicked his ass once more, beating off each and every one of his extra arms. Just before he perishes, he lets us into this new realm that looks like it came straight out of Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe one of the most beautiful areas in the entire game, in my opinion. There's a pink snake lady that we happen upon that says her husband is in trouble up the way, and there's a big evil scorpion king that has raided the village with his Yao Guai. Of course, we don't care about all that, we just want the needle. So we set in, fuck shit up, until we eventually come across this drunken asshole who is actually probably my second biggest fight going back through everything for completion. He's a big boy that moves fast as hell, nearly every attack does poison damage, and hits like a damn semi-truck. Took me a good amount of tries to put this ugly bastard in the ground. Afterwards, found this guy guarding a tablet that allows you to level up quicker, which I intend to use pretty much for the rest of the game. Then there's this guy in a mask who seems chill at first, then turns out he's not so chill once you find his little seed that turns him into one of those ugly worm monsters. Once you put him down, the pink snake lady returns to tell you that it doesn't work for regular dudes, but it works for us. So she gives it back and says we can use it if we want. All that's left for us is to travel to the top of the village and take out yet another daunting fight. Maybe my third toughest, Duskvale. Took me another good set of tries for this guy, but not as much as the Scorpion. I think he's one of the few bosses that makes you fight through 2 full health bars without any respite. Good boss though, I enjoyed it. Only after this final boss in the realm is defeated does the woman give you the powerful golden needle, which would have made the final boss in Chapter 4 so much easier, completely nullifying the 100-eyed Daoist final transformation. Fortunately enough, I'm just that good at the game and beat him without it. Following is probably my hardest fight in the game, still just in terms of going back, to defeat the final member of the Long family, Yellow Long. He appears after having put down the rest of his family, something to do with their destiny to die in battle, and we're the ones fulfilling that prophecy they were so afraid of. After defeating him, I actually get a transformation that's worth a damn other than the Firewolf. I don't really know how to use it yet, but I'll figure it out down the line. Beating Yellow Long is the end of my Chapter 4. Returning to the chapter that I just finished, there wasn't too much to do, but it was much closer to my level and it was a lot of running around to get to where I needed to go. It starts off by taking out this Flint Vanguard, a familiar looking boss in the addition of burning shit rather than just pounding it. I returned to that other Ox dude, the one that initially murdered me a few times, to tell him that I was getting rid of the carts in that area, I think. Just as I was on my way to his final meeting spot for dialogue, I happened upon the giant metal ball that tried to kill me. Apparently it's a special move called top takes bottom, bottom takes top. More on that later. I found the Ox dude again, and he was upset because I didn't let him help with the final cart. Kind of annoying that these games don't give any indication that somebody needs to be spoken to in order for certain things to happen, and you just need to go back every 4 seconds to see if anything updates, but whatever. I can continue anyway. Traveling to this area with a giant cracked wall shows a cutscene of a bigger, badder cart, and it's absolutely tossing our friend Bully Maze around. You fight the cart, which is another really annoying boss just due to how tough it is without any really intense gameplay. More of an endurance test. Once it falls, you go up to our friend, and he's not long for the world. He lets you know that there's some dirty secret hidden behind the cracked wall that we need to get to the bottom of. I'm all for dirty little secrets, so after he dies, we tear down the wall and set forward on snooping throughout this royal family's issues. There's this giant pole thing that transports you again to what I think might be a different time and place. We fight our way through only to be ambushed by the giant metal ball again. Turns out it's 2 people inside of the ball. Doesn't really make sense to me that if we put them down here, they attack us later, but I guess they get away. Not from Jubaje's big boar mode, that's for sure. Continuing on, there's probably some lore behind all the ice that's in this fiery cave, but eventually you run into this jumpy, speedy boy called the Bishui Golden-Eyed Beast. Again, since we're on a more familiar level, this fight definitely took some time for me. Another one of those won't sit still bosses. Then there plays this cutscene about the mom and the yin yang dude talking about a baby that was made in, I guess, a way that you're not supposed to make babies. The game glitched on me, actually reverting me back to the point before I killed the boss, so I had to kill him twice and rewatch the scene for it to proceed. Something about drinking from a river of childbearing, since the Iron Bull joined forces with Sun Wukong back in the day. She gives birth to Red Boy, which is her son, but not the Iron Bull's. It explains the Iron Bull's apathy towards the Red Boy, yet the mother's playful stance on his life just before he dies. Overall, feels like we broke the home pretty well coming back to all this. Interestingly enough, the game transports you out of the cave, but you can go back inside and go even further to find another area that looks like it would be a boss fight, but nothing happens. Not sure if there's something else hidden here, but at that time I didn't have the storage space to keep recording, nor the time to try and figure it out. I ended the chapter by killing the mother of the Flamelings and creating a couple pieces of Bull King armor, the best armor in the game. Only 2 pieces can be made per playthrough though, so I had to choose ones that wouldn't mess up my perks with my other armor. And 12 hours later, I finally went through mostly all the extra stuff that was in the game. Again, I sincerely apologize for the screw up. Turns out I still have plenty to learn, even in the most basic of areas, but everything should be good from here on out to the end of the game. And there's still quite a bit left as we uncover the rest of the story. Thank you for attending the Yap Fest, and I sincerely hope that you made it to this part of the episode, if not the series, and that you're as excited as I am to keep pushing on. If you're not subscribed already, I'd do so now so you don't miss when those other episodes drop. And if it be worthy, leave a like on your way out the door. As always, if you do plan on sticking around, I hope you see me in the next one. Thanks again.